Yulan City. A thin veil of rain draped over the vast heavens and earth. Luo Feng, restless amidst the silence, stepped out of his cave mansion. The more I understand, the more I realize how difficult it is to escape the braided cage. Luo Feng pondered. His current aim wasn't to achieve a breakthrough in the life and death Tao but to comprehend the mysteries of the primordial bloodlines, how they achieved perfect union, seamlessly natural. Perfect union, seamlessly natural, would lead to entirely breaking through the braided cage and reaching a new realm. I've spent considerable time, 5 full cycles of study, on the 323 varieties of early-stage Divine Emperor primordial bloodlines before setting them temporarily aside. Each new bout of comprehension would yield something new, though the returns diminished as time went on. Luo Feng had invested nearly 1,500 epochs acquiring and studying these primordial bloodlines. Most of these 1,500 epochs were devoted to comprehending early-stage Divine Emperor primordial bloodlines. Only recently did he start studying the middle-stage bloodlines, and currently he had managed to meticulously analyze 34 types. Every variety of middle-stage Divine Emperor bloodline has brought me tremendous insights. I've delved into 34 of them in succession, and my soul aches with exhaustion, Luo Feng thought. For these roughly 1,500 epochs, he had constantly been using various auxiliary treasures to aid cultivation, which had taken a toll on his soul. Only now did he decide to rest. I can feel it. Every piece of primordial bloodline draws me closer to escaping the braided cage. I must thoroughly study these primordial bloodlines. There's no room for impatience. Luo Feng treasured these resources greatly. At this moment, Luo Feng had the intuition that, with enough time and effort to consolidate his understanding, he could soon upgrade the life and death Tao to the late-stage Divine Emperor level. However, he wasn't in a rush. The deeper the accumulation, the more profound the understanding of the life and death Tao, thereby fortifying the stability of his chosen path. No need to rush, he reassured himself. Once the life and death Tao reached the late-stage Divine Emperor, it would elevate him above even the 3 hall masters in rank. In the dark sacred realm, he would shine as an unparalleled figure. Yet now he could almost touch this realm. At times, Luo Feng wondered, was he truly a peerless prodigy? Other cultivators remained trapped at some bottleneck, unable to break through. Step by step, Luo Feng ascended naturally to higher realms. Compared to other cultivators, perhaps I am able to grasp the essence of the Tao more directly, Luo Feng pondered. Many cultivators struggled endlessly at the periphery of the great Tao, while Luo Feng could see and seize its core truth with clarity. I see many cultivators as mediocre. Perhaps in Senior Yuan's eyes I too might appear mediocre, Luo Feng chuckled lightly. The fine rain continued to fall. For once, Luo Feng refrained from cultivation, taking pleasure in admiring the city he resided in. Ha ha, ha ha. A grim laughter rang out from the distance. Luo Feng turned to look. Yulan City sprawled across vast lands. Beside a lake stood an elder drinking wine and laughing mournfully. The sorrow embedded in the laughter was palpable even to Luo Feng. An ultimate realm godly king? Luo Feng instantly discerned the elder's power. He quickly suppressed his own aura, letting it barely reach the Divine Emperor threshold. Luo Feng approached. Old fellow, what weighs so heavily on your heart? Luo Feng produced a jug of wine and tossed it toward the elder. The elder caught the jug without much thought, took a sip, and his eyes lit up. He nodded in approval. Good wine. I was merely feeling irked earlier. Laughing it out helps, ha. Irked? Luo Feng asked, observing him. I, an ultimate realm godly king, have spent ages here in Yulan City doing odd jobs, still having to pay residence fees, cave mansion rental fees, and more. After tens of thousands of epochs, I just managed to save a bit of wealth, the elder replied. I finally bought some breakthrough assisting elixirs, but on my way back I discovered the elixirs were gone. Gone? Luo Feng deduced. An ultimate realm godly king wouldn't simply lose their treasures. There was only one likely explanation: they had been stolen. Luo Feng himself had experienced theft upon arriving in Yulan City. Those of us weak ultimate realm godly kings often don't even notice when we're robbed, the elder lamented. In the past, I didn't care much when I was stolen from. But this time, it was the hard-earned fortune I had used to purchase auxiliary elixirs. Now it's all gone. It's too difficult, far too difficult. Earning primordial crystals is difficult, surviving is difficult, cultivation is difficult, the elder said with complexity in his tone. Yet after taking a couple more sips, the elder laughed again. Still, despite the hardships at least in Yulan City, there's hope for cultivation. Indeed there's hope, Luo Feng nodded. Everyone who came to Yulan City did so in pursuit of greater progress on the cultivation path. Thank you for the fine wine, old friend, the elder said with a smile before departing. Life as a cultivator must continue forward. Watching the elder leave, Luo Feng murmured, this is the normal life of Yulan City's bottom tier. Di Fu and Emperor Ming, upon arriving at Yulan City, faced similar struggles. Finding even the most ordinary jobs proved immensely challenging. The majority of cultivators in Yulan City, totaling in the billions, belong to this bottom-tier population. Unable to hunt low-level primordial life due to lack of strength, they sought ways to serve the strong, merely to earn a fraction of resources. Still, they were prone to theft while having to pay residence fees and cave mansion rental fees. A short distance away, the elder suddenly froze, staring at the wine jug in his hand. Within the jug was an invisible seal hiding a piece of primordial crystal. This one piece of primordial crystal was equivalent to 10,000 primordial crystals. 10,000 primordial crystals? The elder turned rapidly, searching for LuoFeng's figure by the lakeside, but he was nowhere to be seen. At this moment, the elder realized that the man from earlier was no ordinary individual. "Thank you, senior," the elder murmured in gratitude, resisting the urge to draw attention to himself. Instead, he immediately hurried toward his cave mansion. He dared not carry such a massive sum of primordial crystals around. Walking through Yulan City, Luo Feng observed the numerous bottom-tier cultivators scattered throughout. Most lacked steady, long-term employment. 4 mini-factions, maintaining long-term personnel was a heavy burden. Even at a mere 20 primordial crystals per epoch, over 100,000 epochs or a million epochs, the costs would become staggering. Thus, most factions preferred temporary workers, hiring more during busy periods and dismissing them during lulls. Even so, bottom-tier cultivators are the most vulnerable to theft. Luo Feng noticed multiple thefts occurring as he wandered through the city. They're impoverished, weak, and can't afford treasures such as the illusion realm maze. Huff. A flying boat soared past in the distance. Luo Feng sensed 5 cultivators aboard, judging from their aura, all likely Divine Emperor early stage enlightened. He guessed they had recently returned from a hunt. In Yulan City, even those who escape the bottom tier with greater strength at the Divine Emperor early stage enlightened level must risk their lives to hunt. Even Divine Emperor middle stage enlightened cultivators often take on these hunting roles. Only a rare few manage to secure key positions in major factions. Luo Feng reflected. Take Emperor Qing for instance, a Divine Emperor middle stage enlightened cultivator who, due to LuoFeng's connection, had landed a desirable post in the Dan Tower. Otherwise, with so many powerful individuals in the city, why would the Chongqing building owner choose him? Within Yulan City, few truly led comfortable lives. Over 99% faced persistent hardship. Even in the face of so much adversity, they all came here. For the sake of their cultivation journey. Luo Feng reached the entrance of the cave mansion belonging to one of 3 major predatory factions, the Insect Nest. Even from a great distance, the enormous, towering spherical entity was visible. Its surface featured countless frenzied faces embedded within, and numerous holes allowed a constant stream of cultivators to come and go. The Insect Nest Master, Luo Feng remarked calmly. Though he hadn't hurried to reach the late stage of the life and death Dao. Even at the middle stage, when coupled with life and destruction already at late Divine Emperor levels, plus his extensive years of research into primordial bloodlines, LuoFeng's foundation was profoundly robust, allowing him to formulate numerous secret techniques. He didn't place much importance on the 3 Hall Masters and naturally regarded the Insect Nest Master even less. The infinite primordial space contains countless source worlds and even more innumerable billions of worlds, Luo Feng mused. Regardless of whether or not there's an Insect Nest Master, Master of Deceit Workshop, or Shadow Tower owner, there will always be those willing to steal and plunder. For resources, no means were too extreme. In the 9 Rivers Sacred Realms 35 cities, every city faced similar challenges. Even if Luo Feng became a city lord and forcibly dismantled predatory groups like the Insect Nest, theft and plunder would remain unavoidable. Luo Feng came to my cave mansion and is staring at me? This massive insect nest was the physical body of the Insect Nest Master. Standing outside, Luo Feng gazed at the insect nest without hesitation, naturally drawing the attention of the Insect Nest Master. I haven't yet procured a suitable mental secret treasure, the Insect Nest Master thought worriedly. I'll have to endure this for now. But once the treasure is in my possession, I'll show Luo Feng the cost of provoking me. A sudden mental transmission echoed within the insect nest. Insect Nest Master, I'm right outside your cave mansion staring at your massive body. Are you pretending not to notice me? Luo Feng's voice resounded. Luo Feng, the Insect Nest Master burned with anger, glaring at Luo Feng as she transmitted her reply. You've crossed the line. You went to the Dan Tower and directly attacked me. I'm merely standing outside your cave mansion and speaking a few words. Is that overstepping? Luo Feng's transmitted voice carried a playful humor. The Insect Nest Master fell silent. Your courage is far smaller than the rumors suggest. Seeing the Master's silence and lack of retort, Luo Feng dismissed any further interaction and departed without lingering. The Insect Nest Master had swallowed her pride. For him to dare provoke me must mean he has some backing, the Master speculated, her instincts sharpened by countless years of existence. As Luo Feng wandered the streets of Yulan City, within a modest cave mansion located in the city's outer district, 2 weak cultivators gathered. Prepare yourselves, the king will soon enter Yulan City, a thin cultivator transmitted mentally. The king is finally coming? An elderly cultivator grew excited. I will immediately mobilize my subordinates and prepare them. The king's arrival must remain known only to the leaders, the thin cultivator cautioned. Everyone below the leaders must stay in the dark. Rest assured, my subordinates believe this is simply another ordinary infiltration and assassination mission. Such operations have been common in the past, the elderly cultivator assured. The truth of the plan remains with me alone. The thin cultivator nodded via mental transmission. Get ready and wait patiently. When the king enters Yulan City, he'll communicate directly with us leaders. The elderly cultivator's eagerness showed. We've waited so long for this. Finally, we'll tear Yulan City apart. Its billions of cultivators will be a feast to savor. Once we've devoured enough cultivators, we'll have a chance at regaining our freedom. Out in the broader world, killing even one cultivator posed significant challenges. But breaching Yulan City would present billions of cultivators as ready prey. Wait patiently, the day is near, the thin cultivator promised with a faint smile. Luo Feng had been in Yulan City for quite some time. Although he had heard of low-level primordial life sneaking into the city and launching assassinations, he had yet to encounter one himself. His thoughts were entirely focused on cultivation, and he hadn't even applied for the elder examination. To Luo Feng, becoming an elder would divert his attention. He needed to concentrate solely on cultivation. Swish, swish, swish. Outside the Dan Tower main building, figures descended one after another, completely blocking the main entrance. This made the customers who came to purchase elixirs somewhat uneasy. One by one, they hurriedly moved away to avoid trouble. It's the insect nest. Cultivators from the insect nest. Looks like the insect nest and the Dan Tower are about to clash. We'd better stay out of this. Many customers quickly fled the scene. Chaos erupted near the Dan Tower main building. The attendants and mid to high level staff were apprehensive as they looked at the figures of the cultivators outside the building. What's the insect nest doing here? Since Luo Feng Divine Emperor joined our Dan Tower, we've been expanding our business for 1,500 eras. The insect nest hasn't made a move, but now they suddenly show up. The Dan Tower members were somewhat panicked and immediately reported upwards. Soon the news reached Chongqing building owner and Luo Feng. Brother Luo Feng, members of the insect nest have mobilized on a large scale and surrounded the Dan Tower main building, Chongqing building owner transmitted. However, under the regulations of Yulan City, they wouldn't dare go too far. It's probably a negotiation visit. Let's observe their intentions for now, Luo Feng said with a hint of curiosity. The insect nest leader had tolerated things for so long, had they finally run out of patience? Dan Tower main building. A towering, scale-armored man led a group of insect nest cultivators into the building. His cold gaze and prominent, thick-scaled tail made him stand out. As he walked into the Dan Tower, the vast space seemed to contort around him, making him its center. The invisible pressure caused the Dan Tower members to tremble with fear. Elder Sa Luo, there's no need to intimidate the juniors. Chongqing building owner appeared, and the building's formation began operating naturally, suppressing the terrifying aura of the towering scale-armored man. Elder Sa Luo, one of the 7 top figures of the insect nest, was at the elder level. Building owner Chongqing, Elder Sa Luo said coldly. I'm not here for you. Oh. Chongqing building owner realized that the insect nest's intentions differed from what he had initially thought. Bring out your Dan Towers, Gu Qingyuan alchemist. Elder Sa Luo declared coldly. Gu Qingyuan? Chongqing building owner frowned slightly but still gave an order. Go and summon Gu Qingyuan to come here. Understood. A subordinate immediately left. Elder Sa Luo, alchemist Gu Qingyuan is one of our 7 high-level alchemists in the Dan Tower. I hold him in high regard, Chongqing building owner said with a smile. I'm curious how he has offended you? Elder Sa Luo cast a sidelong glance at Chongqing building owner. Chongqing building owner relied on alchemy for resources, while Elder Sa Luo was a battle specialist who frequently hunted in the dark sacred realm. Naturally, he didn't think much of Chongqing. You'll understand soon enough, Elder Sa Luo said indifferently. Chongqing building owner slightly furrowed his brows. Both sides fell silent, their members not daring to make a sound. Shortly after, alchemist Gu Qingyuan arrived. Dressed humbly, the middle-aged man had the strength of a mid-stage divine emperor enlightened cultivator. His alchemy technique was unmatched. Aside from Chongqing building owner, he was the best among the Dan Tower's 7 high-level alchemists. You're here, Gu Qingyuan said, glancing at Elder Sa Luo and his group. Did you think hiding in the Dan Tower would keep you safe? Elder Sa Luo's eyes filled with killing intent. You truly have guts. In Yulan City, you dared to assassinate 2 of my mid-stage divine emperor enlightened subordinates. According to the city's regulations, killing cultivators within its borders means you deserve death. Do you have evidence? Gu Qingyuan calmly asked. Rage flickered in Elder Sa Luo's eyes. Of course he lacked evidence. The insect nest had paid a heavy price to deduce that the culprit was Gu Qingyuan. 2 mid-stage divine emperors? Chongqing building owner said in surprise. In Yulan City, without disturbing the city's defense systems, it's nearly impossible to silently kill such powerful individuals, even at the elder level. He used poison, Elder Sa Luo explained. I asked 2 friends for assistance to investigate past time-space traces and causality, confirming the poison was his doing. Why would I poison 2 of your insect nest members for no reason? Gu Qingyuan questioned doubtfully. Your sole disciple was killed during a raid, Elder Sa Luo gazed at Gu Qingyuan. You suspected my 2 subordinates were responsible. Indeed. Gu Qingyuan nodded and sighed. My only disciple was killed. He worked carefully to accumulate resources through artifact refining skills within the city. But he was still targeted. Just for purchasing a treasure, he was ambushed and killed while returning to his cave mansion. Before he died, he transmitted a message to me revealing the 2 culprits. They were members of your insect nest. A deathbed transmission? Elder Sa Luo scoffed. It could very well have been other raiders in disguise. In Yulan City, disguise techniques are endless. Determining the culprits requires sufficient evidence. Gu Qingyuan stared at Elder Sa Luo. My disciple was weak and I am merely an ordinary alchemist. I lack the ability to poison two mid-stage divine emperor enlightened individuals. You also said that identifying culprits in Yulan City demands conclusive evidence. Elder Luo glared at the alchemist. He knew full well that Gu Qingyuan was the murderer. So, the insect nest made an error? Elder Luo asked. Gu Qingyuan, come with me. Cooperate with the investigation and prove your innocence. Take him away. On what grounds? Without evidence, why take him? Other Dan Tower alchemists voiced their anger. Elder Luo. Changqing building owner interjected. You intend to forcibly take Gu Qingyuan without evidence? Because I'm an elder. Elder Luo shot a cold glance at Changqing building owner and displayed a time-space projection. With evidence of past time-space showing Gu Qingyuan in close proximity to the deceased, coupled with causality traces, I suspect him as the culprit. I also have Elder Diyu's issued decree. Does that give me the right to take him for investigation? Elder Luo was enraged. 2 key subordinates had been poisoned within the city. What leader could endure such a loss? We can't let them take Brother Gu. If he's taken, he's as good as dead. Once taken away, whether he's the culprit or not will be decided entirely by them. Other alchemists spoke up in succession. Gu Qingyuan was well respected among the Dan Tower alchemists. You aim to stop me? I have evidence of suspicion, I have Elder Diyu's decree, and I personally came as an elder to apprehend a suspect. You plan to obstruct me? Elder Luo looked at Changqing building owner. Changqing building owner knew that if he intervened, he would lack justification. Under reasonable suspicion, Elder Luo indeed had the authority to forcibly act and take the suspect. And you lot. Elder Luo's gaze swept across the furious alchemists. I'm speaking with the building owner, how dare you interrupt? Record every single one of their names. Understood, his subordinates replied promptly, eyeing the alchemists one by one. The alchemists paled and grew uneasy. Gu Qingyuan, rest assured. I'll meet with Elder Diyu to ensure you receive fair treatment, Changqing building owner stated. Thank you, building owner. Sorry to trouble you. Gu Qingyuan bowed respectfully, remaining calm despite having prepared for the worst. Building owner, you give him too much credit. A black-haired, black-clad man appeared. Both sides turned their attention to Luo Feng, whose arrival caused Elder Luo's expression to change slightly. He didn't care much for Changqing building owner, but Luo Feng Divine Emperor's reputation soared after toppling Elder Tianhe. Boom. As Luo Feng emerged, an invisible and terrifying aura swept outwards. Elder Luo's expression shifted as he stood unmoved, his scale armor glowing faintly as he resisted the force. But his subordinate insect nest cultivators couldn't withstand it. They were swept off their feet and flung outside by the overwhelming pressure. How dare the insect nest act presumptuously in my domain? Luo Feng fixed his gaze on Elder Luo. You must be Elder Luo. Elder Luo growled in anger. Luo Feng. I have suspicion evidence and Elder Diyu decree. The insect nest trash, daring to pursue a culprit? Luo Feng sneered. Do you even know what your nest is infamous for? Elder Luo's face darkened. At the elder level, city rules generally required adherence, and direct combat within the city was highly discouraged. You, Elder Luo exclaimed in fury. You've gone too far. Listen carefully. LuoFeng's voice was cold as he addressed Elder Luo, his words reaching the ears of the insect nest cultivators outside. My Dan Tower strictly adheres to regulations. Without conclusive evidence, no one has the authority to take away our cultivators. Not you, not even the insect nest master. You dare disrespect the insect nest master? Elder Luo asked, staring at Luo Feng. The insect nest master was a formidable power on par with the 3 hall masters, far above the average elder level. Yes, I don't consider him worth my regard. Luo Feng returned Elder Luo's gaze. You may convey my exact words to him. I, Luo Feng, will await him at any time. Changqing building owner stood stunned, looking at Luo Feng as if he were mad. So audacious. Changqing prided himself on maintaining good relations with various factions in Yulan City. He would never dare behave this brazenly. The gathered cultivators from both sides were also taken aback. Luo Feng Divine Emperor? Gu Qingyuan appeared incredulous. He had already prepared for the worst, even purchasing a substitute death treasure. Luo Feng's words shocked everyone present, brazenly humiliating the insect nest master without reservation. Fine then. I'll certainly relay your message exactly as you wish to the insect nest master. Elder Luo sneered, turning to leave. Buzz. The life and death array activated, enveloping the Dan Tower complex in terrifying waves. Elder Luo found himself trapped, unable to escape or dismantle the formation. He even sensed his own life force weakening and realized he couldn't recover. The change in circumstances made Elder Luo's expression shift to one of horror. What are you doing? In the city, are you planning to attack? Elder Luo glared at Luo Feng in a mix of anger and alarm. You came to my tower acting arrogant and now wish to leave? Such convenience isn't allowed here. Leave 1 billion primordial crystals as reparations, or stay a while longer at my Dan Tower, Luo Feng said with a calm firmness. Both sides of cultivators were stunned into silence, unwilling to get further involved. Elder Luo was caught between panic and rage, calling for assistance from the insect nest master. Insect nest headquarters within the massive spherical creature. The beautiful woman lay there as if deep in slumber, a transmitted message contacting her. The beautiful woman slowly opened her eyes, a hint of curiosity in her expression. Elder Luo, what is the matter? She treated the 7 elder-level figures of the insect nest with courtesy. Insect nest master. Elder Luo transmitted his response. I've been trapped by Luo Feng in the Dan Tower. He refuses to let me leave and demands I pay 1 billion primordial crystals as compensation before he will release me. How did you end up provoking Luo Feng? The beautiful woman looked puzzled. An alchemist in the Dan Tower poisoned and killed 2 of my subordinates. Here is the detailed report, Elder Luo said, sending all the information. The beautiful woman reviewed the entire set of details. I went to Dan Tower in person, intending to apprehend the alchemist Gu Qingyuan. Elder Luo declared helplessly, who would have thought that Luo Feng is so domineering? He trapped me directly with his formation and demanded compensation, not even showing you any respect. The beautiful woman inquired further. His formation could trap you, and you had no means of escaping? Yes. Elder Luo replied. The power of the formation was terrifying, completely suppressing me. I couldn't resist. If he could have broken through the formation by force, he would have done so long ago. Moreover, the formation is continuously draining my vitality, making me increasingly weak, Elder Luo added. Insect Nest Master Luo Feng is openly insulting us. Our insect nest cannot tolerate this. Why not tolerate it? The beautiful woman questioned. When facing a strong enemy, tolerance is sometimes necessary. Elder Luo froze. Strong enemy? In the eyes of the insect nest master, Luo Feng was a strong enemy? As for the billion primordial crystals as compensation, there's no need to pay him. You are an elder with many avatars. Simply abandon the avatar that's been trapped, the beautiful woman instructed. Elder Luo protested helplessly. I came to Dan Tower in person, prepared to forcibly seize Gu Qingyuan. Because of this, I carried a full set of secret treasures worth over 1 billion primordial crystals. If it were a regular avatar, he would abandon it without hesitation. The hard-to-acquire complete set of secret treasures was tailored for him, impossible to discard lightly. Then offer the compensation, the beautiful woman said. If I do, our insect nest will lose face completely. Luo Feng is trampling on the reputation of our insect nest. Elder Luo reminded her once more. Let him trample. The beautiful woman ended the communication. She never cared about such matters. Last time he provoked me outside my cave mansion, now he openly disregards me. Is he pushing me to confront him? The beautiful woman grew increasingly wary, knowing a simple truth. The more an enemy wishes to accomplish something, the less you should let them succeed. There's already information about me circulating in Yulan City, and Luo Feng has previously engaged with me in spiritual combat. The beautiful woman thought deeply. He knows my capabilities yet still pushes me to act? He must have some degree of confidence. Has he gained a stronger spiritual technique? Or perhaps some other unknown method? She decided the only response was patience. Time would reveal Luo Feng's true capabilities. As long as Luo Feng is powerful enough, the truth will eventually come to light when he reveals his strengths. The beautiful woman remained calm and composed. The formation surrounding the Dan Tower complex was operating, forcibly trapping Elder Luo and compelling him to provide compensation. The spectacle naturally stunned onlookers, and the news spread rapidly throughout the city. A Dan Tower, a faction primarily focused on alchemy, dared to provoke one of the 3 major looting factions, the Insect Nest? Factions capable of large-scale looting were invariably fearsome. The Insect Nest had its master and 7 elder-level figures, with numerous mid-stage divine emperor enlightened individuals. Simply trapping Elder Luo like this? The Chongqing building owner expressed apprehension. I'll handle this matter, don't worry about it, Luo Feng said. The Chongqing building owner was truly uneasy. His strength was insufficient to confront the Insect Nest directly or to act tough against them. Let's hope Luo Feng doesn't bring disaster upon me, the Chongqing building owner thought anxiously. The trapped Elder Luo remained silent for a moment. Finally he spoke, his tone noticeably softer. Luo Feng, this time I trespassed. Please release me. The Chongqing building owner was surprised, while other members of the Dan Tower were astonished. Did he really yield? I've already said, pay 1 billion primordial crystals as compensation, and I'll let you go. Luo Feng stated coldly, staring at him. Elder Luo felt profoundly stifled. He was a potent being of the source world, possessing multiple avatars, and didn't need to take Luo Feng's demand seriously. He yielded in hopes that Luo Feng might waive the billion primordial crystal demand. Luo Feng, my visit to Dan Tower was for Gu Qingyuan and not directed against you. Do you still insist on 1 billion primordial crystals for compensation? Elder Luo couldn't help but reply. If it were directed against me, 1 billion primordial crystals wouldn't have sufficed, Luo Feng said, shooting a cold glare at Elder Luo. Insect nest scum needed a lesson. If they were outside the city, Elder Luo would have been crushed instantly. Even though Elder Luo was fierce, he had no choice but to endure the situation. Soon after, another one of Elder Luo's avatars brought along 1 billion primordial crystals. Here is 1 billion primordial crystals as compensation. He presented a bag full of primordial crystals. You may leave. Luo Feng accepted the compensation and let him go. As Elder Sa Luo departed, he glanced at Luo Feng and remarked, "Brother Luo Feng, you have my respect." Without saying another word, he left swiftly under the watchful eyes of many onlookers. He really offered compensation? The members of the Dan Tower were in disbelief. Forcing an elder in the city to obediently provide compensation? Unthinkable. Elders generally had avatars and were often unyielding, willing to have their avatars dissipate rather than lower their heads. Unknown to the Dan Tower members, even the Insect Nest Master had chosen to tolerate this matter. Elder Sa Luo naturally sensed something was amiss, opting to suppress his emotions and not bring in reinforcements but instead to offer compensation, concede defeat and resolve the conflict. Senior Luo Feng, Gu Qingyuan the alchemist, bowed respectfully. "Thank you for saving my life." Without Luo Feng's deterrence, Gu Qingyuan would have been in mortal peril. Even if he had fled the city after poisoning, the insect nest's power would have traced time and causality. Gu Qingyuan would have been facing overwhelming odds. The death of his sole disciple had filled Gu Qingyuan with killing intent at the time, compelling him to poison the two perpetrators, ready to either escape if possible or face destruction together if not. "Trust that Sa Luo will no longer target you," Luo Feng said. "You can stay safely at the Dan Tower." "Yes, senior." Gu Qingyuan felt immense gratitude. "All right, everyone can disperse now," the Changqing building owner said with a smile before pulling Luo Feng aside. "Brother Luo Feng, this time you openly humiliated the insect nest. The insect nest master must have heard about it, yet Sa Luo still obediently paid compensation." The Changqing building owner spoke urgently. Clearly it wasn't Sa Luo who chose to relent, it was the insect nest master who chose to back down. "Why is that?" Luo Feng seemed thoughtful and then smiled. "Perhaps during our last confrontation the insect nest master suffered significant injuries? Thus she willingly chose to yield this time." As LuoFeng's cultivation progressed, the application of the Lie Yuan Technique grew ever more terrifying, naturally amplifying his power. However, LuoFeng's strongest ability remained the combination of the Undying Heart and Palm World during direct combat. Even the three Hall Masters didn't concern Luo Feng too much, let alone the Insect Nest Master. "Alright, no need to worry. Whatever they scheme, I'll handle it all," Luo Feng said with a faint smile before turning and heading to his small building. He continued focusing on cultivation. Although he hadn't intentionally pursued the life and destruction fusion, the life and death Tao was just one step away from reaching the late-stage Divine Emperor. It was merely a matter of steady accumulation. Once the life and death Tao reaches the late-stage Divine Emperor, I can venture into the dark sacred realm. I'll leave an avatar in Yulan City to repay Yuan Xiang Palace Master's kindness, but my main focus must be on exploring the dark sacred realm. Within one of the core cave mansions in Yulan City, inside the tower filled with tens of thousands of terrifyingly powerful creatures, all of Divine Emperor level. Luo Feng doesn't give the insect nest any respect, openly humiliating them, and they tolerate it. Strange, very strange. The insect nest master's domineering nature suggests she wouldn't yield unless there was a specific reason. Is she afraid? Of all things could she truly fear? Tens of thousands of creatures looked perplexed. This tower was the Shadow Tower. No one knew what the Shadow Tower Master looked like. Among the tens of thousands within the tower, they only constituted part of the Shadow Tower Master. The rest roamed the dark sacred realm and other realms. He was a being of countless avatars. Master of Deceit Workshop, Shadow Tower Master, and Insect Nest Master. All established theft and looting factions, each notoriously formidable. Luo Feng tramples on the insect nest's reputation, and Elder Sa Luo obediently compensates with 1 billion primordial crystals? Elder Xingyi, his branches already blooming with flowers, stood in Yulan City, enjoying an exceptionally exalted status as a direct disciple of a peerless being in the dark sacred realm. Even the three Hall Masters had to show him respect. Luo Feng, newly arrived in Yulan City, coalesced with Emperor Qin, hunting only early-stage Divine Emperor low-level primordial life. Yet now he can elicit fear from the Insect Nest Master. Showing a glimmer of my master's skill. Elder Xingyi contemplated. Even Elder Xingyi rarely saw his own master. Among the illustrious figures of the dark sacred realm, none could compare to his master. In the most expansive cave mansion within Yulan City, Wei Yang Palace Master sat there, his gaze deep, expressionless, reading the latest intelligence. He was intimately aware of every facet of Yulan City and well acquainted with Yuan Xiang Palace Master's worsening condition. He had already prepared himself to take on the role of City Lord. Luo Feng. Wei Yang Palace Master studied the intelligence, his brow furrowed, growing so fast? The Master of Deceit Workshop had previously suggested recruiting Luo Feng, but Wei Yang Palace Master had refrained, sensing a potent threat in Luo Feng. Insect Nest, Luo Feng behaves so tyrannically and yet you tolerate it? Wei Yang Palace Master transmitted the question to the Insect Nest Master. He is proficient in the secret technique of spiritual will and has engaged me in spiritual combat before. I prefer not to provoke him. The Insect Nest Master replied. Just spiritual combat? Wei Yang Palace Master pressed. Yes, if I possessed a strong secret treasure capable of protecting my spiritual will, I would have no qualms about teaching him a lesson. The Insect Nest Master responded. Wei Yang Palace Master asked no further questions. Moments later. Palace Master, what rank should Luo Feng hold in the latest Divine Emperor rankings? An underling transmitted the inquiry. Wei Yang Palace Master slightly furrowed his brows and commanded, rank him at 33rd. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.